Good afternoon. Welcome back to social science class. So, previous session we start to learn about the role of the parliament. So, especially in our country, in a democratic system. See, I told that very clearly. So, the parliament is actually the decision making body of our country. The parliament is a decision making body of our country. So here the people participation also very much important. Why? Because though, so the people, so they are going to choose or they are going to elect their representative through by casting their vote in the election, and they are going to choose their representative to the assembly to participate in the parliament. So actually the elected representatives are participating in the assembly or in the parliament. So on behalf of all the voters, on behalf of all the citizens, those who are actually cast their votes. Actually here they are voice of those representatives. See, the parliament in our system has immense power. It is one of the superior body. The parliament is the superior body in our country. So why? Because it is the representative of the people. So why? Because it is the representative of the people. The people, those who are participating in the parliament, they are all elected representatives by the people. See here, we all of you knows that. So whichever it may be for a different level of the government. So we are conducting elections once in a 5 years. So, due to different case, sometimes even so we used to conduct a election before 5 years also. But usually, so the term is so the 5 years. I mean the government term. That means so the elected representatives are electing for only 5 years. So again 5 years. I mean the after 5 years. So they used to contest in the election, and then they should go through the elections once again. They should stand before the people also, and again the people, they are going to decide their representatives. Are you getting? No, see here, we came to know that the Lok Sabha is usually elected once every 5 years. So actually in our assembly, I mean the parliament, it is consist of two houses. One, it is called a Rajya Sabha, and then another one house is called Lok Sabha. And Rajya Sabha is also known as the upper house, and then Lok Sabha used to called as a lower house also. So here in Lok Sabha, so actually the where the people, they are electing directly. That means so the Lok Sabha is a consist of so elected representatives. So that means so those members are directly elected by the people. So at present, actually we are having 543 constituencies. So based on physical region and then population, so the whole India, it is divided into 543 constituencies. And then so the again the two members, especially the two Anglo Indians, they are going to nominate, and then total strength of the Lok Sabha is 545 at present. So here the number of seats also reserved on the basis of how the constitution so provided some of the provision for some of the categories. For example, so out of 543, so the 423 seats are reserved for general, and 79 seats are reserved for SC, and remaining 41 seats are reserved for ST category, and two are going to be nominated by the president. So this is what the structure. Understood now? So here the one thing we have to keep it in our mind. So whether in a general constituency, whether in a reserved constituency, who are going to elect, whether only those community people, or for whom those constituencies are reserved, whether only those people, whether they are going to cast their vote. No. So here commonly all adults, and mean so all the eligible, so the voters, they are going to elect, even in general also, even in reserved constituencies also. It is very common. So please keep it in your mind. So out of 545, So there are two nominated, especially those who are belongs to so Anglo Indians, and remaining 543 constituencies are divided basically geographically, and the that is completely based on the number of population. Okay, so here the general constituencies are 423, and the seats are reserved, I mean for SC, that is about totally 79. That means 79 seats are reserved for SC, and then remaining 41 seats are reserved for ST category. So I hope, dear students, you are able to follow this. See, the candidate who contest elections usually belong to the different political parties, that we all of you knows that. When we are conducting election, so usually we knows that the elections are conducted by the election commissioner. The electioner commissioner who is well known as EC. So the election commissioner of India, so that is the completely responsible for conducting elections at a different level of the government also. So here, so there are during election times we knows that there we can see the list of political parties, because I told that so in Indian system, I mean democratic system, we adopted multi political parties system. So in the multi-political party system, so all different political parties they used to conduct, I mean contest in the election, and even so even there is no any other restrictions also. Even those who are not belongs to the respective political parties also, they can also contest in the election as a independent candidate. So if you see the page number 35 of your political science textbook, and you can get, so there will be, there is a the data that is about the election which was conducted in 1984 Lok Sabha election. So that is about the result of 8th Lok Sabha election, which was conducted in 1984, and there you can see the national parties and then state parties. Then don't think, sir, what are these national parties and the state parties? So about political parties, so you are going to learn in 9th standard week. Just you have to keep it in your mind. So the different political parties are so based on their strength. So it is actually the status is given by the election commission of India, and they are categorized the number of political parties as the national parties and then state parties. About this you are going to learn in the next year. Okay, so just you can go through that page number 35, and you will get the idea of the political parties, so which are considered as national political parties, and then which are considered as state parties. And even you can came to know that so the number of elected representatives, so those who are elected from that respective political party in this 8th Lok Sabha election, so that data also easily we can get, and then we can understand by studying page number 35. So please, I request you, please you go through that. Okay, see here, once the candidate elected, and these candidates becomes so the members of a parliament. Are you getting now? So those who are the member of a parliament usually called as MP. Okay, so these MPs together made up the parliament. Who are there in the parliament? So member of parliament. Okay, so those who are well known as MPs. So all these MPs together make up the parliament. See, once elections to the parliament have taken place, the parliament needs to perform so many functions. The role of the parliament, especially the functions of the parliaments, are so and so concerned. Why? Because the parliament, so it is the voice of the people, and even it is the part of the people, I mean the group of the people, those who are formed the government and those who are running the government, they also belongs to this parliament. Okay, so that's what the responsibilities and the functions of the parliament. So they used to perform the various functions. Okay, now let us discuss one by one about the functions of the parliament. So the first thing, that to select the national government. So this is what main important responsibility and the function of the government, to select the national government. Why? Because no, actually we are electing our representatives. Okay, those who are become a so the part of the parliament. Okay, but we are not going to choose a government because the government formation is completely depend upon so the majority or the interested, whether a single party. Sometimes we all of you knows that single no one party also, so they are not getting the majority. Okay, so in this case also I told about that coalition government also, the two or more than two political parties, so together they used to form a government which used to called as a coalition government. See here, to select the national government, that is what the first and most important function of the parliament. See, the parliament in India consists of, we knows that the president, the Rajya Sabha and the Lok Sabha. The president also is the part of the parliament because he is actually the head of the state, is actually head of the state. So he used to call as the first citizen of our country, who is head of the state, that is about the president. So the Indian parliament consists of president, the Rajya Sabha and the Lok Sabha. Then already I told that, so these are the Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha, these are the different two houses. Those are the part of the parliament. Okay, and the Rajya Sabha is well known as the upper house, and then the Lok Sabha is the lower house. See, after the Lok Sabha elections, a list is prepared showing how many MPs belongs to each political party. I told that very clearly. So after the completion of the election, after getting a result, so these are all the process actually that goes through the Election Commission of India. So the responsibility of the conducting election, declaring election, even the counting also, even the announcing a result also officially, these are all the functions of the election commission of our country. Okay, so here after the declaration of the result, and they are going to note so how many members they are belongs to the which political party. Okay, all representatives, so those who are belongs to the different political party. So for a political party to form the government, so they must have majority of elected member of parliaments or elected MPs. Okay, so who are allowed to form the government? So the majority political party. Okay, see, since there are already you knows that 543 elected representatives are there. So we knows that plus two, those who are actually become the members of Lok Sabha and those who are appointed by the president and those who are called especially reserved for Anglo Indians. Okay, see here, to have a majority, a party should have at least half the number, that is so out of 543, so the political party must win in the 272 members or more than 272. If not, so together they can form the coalition government also. Are you getting now? So if any political party so wants to form the government means, so it requires minimum 272 or more than 272. This is what the majority number. So if they have these the many members as elected representatives in the parliament, so they can form the government. And the opposition in parliament is formed by all the political parties that oppose the majority party and even the coalition parties. So they can become the single opposition party also, even they can form the coalition also, and then they can become so remaining, except these 272 members are there, no, those who are going to form the government, those party used to call as a ruling party, and rest of the members they are considered as a opposition party. Okay, see, they are going to oppose, I mean opposition party means whatever it may be, they are actually the guiders, instructors and even so they are suggestors also to run the government smoothly and to support also, and sometimes so to criticize the government policies which are not favorable to country and as well as for the citizens also. See, the largest amongst these parties is called the opposition party. So this is also the common. So remaining again, which political parties members are more, or the members are belongs to the different political party. So numerically, those political party or that particular political party, so used to considered as a opposition party, and even others also. Okay, and if not, so altogether they can form and they can choose the opposition party leader also. See, one of the most important functions of the Lok Sabha is to select the executive. This please keep it in your mind. So this is actually the parliament is actually the legislature body. So among this, so they used to select. It is one of the most important functions of the Lok Sabha. That is about to select the executive. See, the executive, as you read, so in the first chapter, so already we knows that. So is a group of persons who work together to implement the laws and even so whatever the decisions are taken by the parliament. They are actually the implementers. Okay, so who are going to implement? So that body, the implementation body, which is whatever the decisions are taken by the legislature part or the legislature, so that is going to be implemented by the executive body. So this executive is often what we have in our mind when we use the term of government. That is what the government. Okay, here the executive means the executive part of the parliament means that is about the government, because the government is a form by the these members only, and even they are going to implement and they are going to take the different decisions and policies, and even after discussion in the both the houses also, they only finally going to implement through the government officials. So that's what. So the government is considered and called as the executive body of the parliament. Is it clear? Okay, now let us discuss about one more important point, that is about the prime minister, the PM of our country. See here, usually the prime minister used to select by the majority political party and who are going to form a government in that. So they are going to choose. I mean, always the prime minister of India is the leader of the ruling party in the Lok Sabha. Are you getting now? So who are in that place and war becomes a ruling party. So the prime minister is become the leader of the ruling party of the Lok Sabha. See here, from the MPs who belong to a party, whoever it may be, the prime minister selects. After that, what happened? So the prime minister is going to be selected the different ministers for different portfolios. So first thing, the ruling party or the majority political party, which are measure numerically majority, they are showing. So they are going to choose their leader as the prime minister of our country. And the next step, the prime minister used to select ministers for different portfolios to look after as a, I mean, in charge of that different portfolios, especially so to run the government. So for smooth functions of the government, like there are so many different portfolios are there, we all of you knows that. So there are number of ministers so who are choosing by prime minister. Understood? So that again, about this you are going to learn in a deep in this next year. Okay, they are also categorized. So the cabinet ministers and state ministers like that and all. So that we are going to learn in the next class. See, often the after that, so we know that there are different all the whatever it may be. So the different departments are divided, and then so those who are look after the completely the ministers, they are become the respective department head, and they used to call as a, for example, health minister, education minister, defense minister, foreign affairs minister, financial minister, so and so things like that. So they used to call in the name of the depart with the name of the department only. See, often times in the recent past, it has been difficult for a single political party that we all of knows that to get the majority that is required to form a government. So, to form a government, to become the executive body or the government, so we required the majority. But since so many years, so where we cannot see, even in India, in the central government also, even in some of the states also, where we cannot see the majority. So the members, those who are belongs to the same political party. That means, so the political parties are failed to show their majority in the assemblies or in the different elections to form a government. So they do not have sufficient numbers of the members. So in this case, so the different political parties are joined together, and even so they are shows the common interest and all and similar concerns, and they are going to form the government. So these governments already I told used to call as a coalition government. And let us discuss in the next class about the Rajya Sabha. Thank you. Have a nice day.